everyone, this is Jane with Barlow Herbal, and in this video I am going to cover specific herbs that I've been using over the decades for women's health. So first let me ask you a question. As a woman, have you ever thought, my body's constantly changing month by month, year by year, over the decades, and no one ever taught me how to really take care of it naturally? Because as women, there are seasons and hormone changes and giving birth to children and going through all of the changes we go through. And because natural medicine has been suppressed, herbal wisdom has kind of gone by the wayside for almost 100 years, probably more, but now it's making a roaring comeback. And I think that this is a question that many, many women are asking themselves, and they're out there searching. I see this. And for me, many of you know, I grew up with a dad who was a botanist. So he loved studying plants, and his specific love was what made plants medicine for humans. So I got to participate in this as a child, mostly as a teenager, because that's when he really started, diving deep into his herbalism. And then as a young mother, I had my kids at 20 and 21. So as a woman in my mid-60s, I have personally experienced what it feels like to walk through the decades and the different changes. And even though I had the layers of wisdom that I had, there is still so much that I learned, even after I've been through this and learned all this from my dad. So today I want to share with you a specific bundle of products that we put together that are for women's health. So this is a little bit outside of the normal that I do when I put out a herbal wisdom video every week. I've been having a lot of requests from people about, can I guide you and educate you on some of the actual products and bundles that we have? So before I start on that, let me just say that this information is not medical advice. This is based on my own opinion. It's my own experience, and it's based on my own research as well. So as always, do your own due diligence. Know that while we have similarities, we are all a little bit different. And with the food supply, the crazy world that we live in, many people are on prescription medications, and that can interact with herbal remedies as well. So this is a place where wisdom, intuition, common sense, this all must play a role in you incorporating natural remedies into your routine, into your diet. Many of the things that we talk about are food-based. You talk about cayenne pepper. This is an amazing food, but the health benefits of cayenne pepper by itself is absolutely amazing. So a lot of these things, even being food-based, we still need to be a little bit careful, because if I'm talking about cayenne pepper, it has natural blood thinning properties. Not massive, not like a prescription blood thinner. But if you're on a prescription blood thinner, you should use caution before you consume large amounts of cayenne pepper. So this is the simple kind of wisdom that I'm talking about when it comes to adding herbal remedies. So with the disclaimer out of the way, let's first talk about all the things that happen as women as we walk through life. So as a teenager, we start our monthly cycle, and that starts our hormones really flowing, and we get these fluctuations. And, anyone that's raising a teenage daughter, women ourselves being teenagers, we remember, I would say that the things that we experienced back when I was, a teenager in the 1970s, what today's teenagers are dealing with and all of the stuff is very much different. And I think it's even more critically important to support our teenage daughters, nieces, granddaughters. I have a granddaughter who will be 15 this summer. And I feel so blessed that she's had access, and her parents make this available, and it's like the first line of what she turns to. So some of the things I'm going to talk about today, one of them in particular has been used by my granddaughter, and I have teenage nieces. So as we start with this beautiful time of life, because women are creators, we create life. It is such a beautiful gift that we get to participate in as women. And then as we're raising our kids, we go through our 20s, our 30s. Maybe you started having children in your 30s, maybe in your 40s. All of us are in different seasons at different times. But As we get a little bit older, then we get to go through perimenopause, and that monthly drop starts to slow down and starts to be sporadic. So our hormones are literally going wonky. And it's not something that, unless you're prepared for it, the lifestyle things are extremely important here as well. But most women are just used to putting another burden, which could be our own health and our own energy levels and sleep levels and all of the things. We just are used to handling everything, schedules and work. So many women are working. And I believe that is actually starting to shift a little bit, realizing that the importance of, if you're able to raise your own children, is such a gift. In fact, to me, that's, I'm lucky. I got to be at home with my kids. I was teaching at a gym. And so I would haul them with me to the gym. They would be in the daycare for the hour that I was teaching my class. And it was just a little part-time job to supplement our income as a young, kind of struggling family. So to me, this is something that's really, really important. So what I'm going to talk about today are 3 different products that we put together in a bundle called the Ultimate Woman's Bundle. We also have a woman's bundle that just includes 2 of them. And then we added another one probably about 10 years ago, actually longer than that, because this made a personal difference for me as I went through that crazy time of life that we all like to, a lot of women like to kind of deny. I'm going through menopause, and it is what it is. It's a natural part of the plan as we move through this life. And the goal is to move through it with energy, vitality, with clarity and focus, and help balance our hormones. I think that's been the most important lesson for me, is making sure that my hormones stay regulated and balanced. And it was especially important when I went through perimenopause, when it was starting to kind of taper off and it was sporadic, and and then we're still carrying the load of all the things that we're responsible for, right? So the first thing I'm going to talk about is a blend called Woman's Comfort. This is a capsule product. This product was not something that my dad actually brought into product form. But interestingly, this is a blend that he put in his book. So here's my dad's book. He published this in 1979. That was the year I graduated from high school. On page 79, which is a little ironic, right? I didn't realize that till now. At the very bottom, you can take a screenshot of this, maybe pause this if you will. But there is a list, 6 herbs. And this is something that he blended up and used when my mom had 11 children and we adopted 3. So she had 11, and her last 5 babies were born at home with a midwife. And I think one of them was born without a midwife, just my dad was there. And my dad formulated this, and my mom used this on her last 5 pregnancies. And just remembering what my dad talked about and all of that, this is something that I used in tea form when I had my kids, because I had my kids at 20 and 21. And I didn't actually put this into a product in the Barlow Herbal line until after my dad had passed. So this is a formula that's been out for about 20 years, and he's been gone 28. So this is something that has made a huge difference in the lives of not only the women in my family, my children, my sisters, my nieces, and so many of my friends' daughters. I'm so grateful that I had this recipe and I put it into this product. And the way that he suggested it was either in tea form, in an infusion, or in a capsule, because it's important for these 6 herbs to go through the digestive process. So let me tell you really quickly what these herbs are and briefly what they're designed to do. What you'll find on this YouTube channel, or if you're watching this on Rumble, you'll find this also on Rumble, is there's a playlist of all the herbal wisdom videos that I've been sharing over the years. And all 6 of these herbs has its own spotlight. First one is Black Cohosh, and this is at the top, because Black Cohosh has been one of the most respected herbs for women's health over centuries. This is not a brand new thing. This is not even a decade old. This is centuries, even thousands of years. This herb has been known for how it supports women. And the nice thing about something like Black Cohosh is it supports women through the different transitions, all the different things that we experience that I spoke about earlier. Now, the next one is red raspberry leaf. And this one is one of my favorites because this one is super easy to consume in a tea. It's got so many benefits for vitality and strength of the reproductive organs and all of the things that help women in our quest for wellness naturally, right? Blessed Thistle. It's a tonic. It's used for overall vitality and wellness. This is listed on our product as squaw vine, this next one. It's also known as Partridge Berry. Some people get a touch bit thinking that squaw vine is a little bit offensive and it's not meant to be that way. This is what my dad always called it, and I love it. Okay. It has actually deep roots in Native American history. The next herb in women's comfort is Lobelia. Now, Lobelia has an amazing range of properties from lung health to immune support. It's got a ton of antioxidants, and it's a really beautiful herb that makes a perfect addition to the woman's comfort. The last one in this is Pennyroyal. And this one is classic. This has been around, again, for centuries. All 6 of these herbs are really well known. Now, the suggested way that we would say that you should take this is 1 capsule twice a day. And I've had many women take it for not just irregular periods, but heavy periods. And the goal is patience. I would say get through 1 full bottle. And if this is something you can just get just by itself, you can just get the woman's comfort. And there are many women who just put it on auto ship because it's something that's really important, that once you really get the herbs that help you regulate. And from what I've seen it actually take if you have a super heavy flow, making the flow normal and helping the body to regulate. Okay. And to me, that's really, really important. So those are the 6 herbs that are in the woman's comfort. And this was a product that I put out. I gave it a name, and I just thought that was a really beautiful thing to put into our line. Then what happened about 3 years after I put the woman's comfort out, I was having a conversation with a naturopathic doctor from the East Coast, and he had found me. I was only a few years in to restarting my dad's company. And we started having these really beautiful conversations about things that he would encounter in his practice. And he is long retired now. He's in his 90s. He's been retired for a while. But when we were chatting, he was starting to tell me about an herb called Black Haw. So black and then haw, Haw. And I'd never heard of it. I wasn't familiar with it. And like I said, this was more than 20 years ago. So it was like, okay, I need to research this. And this is one of the things I love about what I do is someone will say, hey, have you heard of this herb? What do you think about it? And if it's something I'm not familiar with, because we all know there's hundreds of herbs, right? Hundreds of plants, hundreds of things that God put on this earth for us to heal. And we're always open to learning. At least that's how we should be. But I did a deep dive, and he was like, I came back and I said, okay, this is a really cool plant. Supportive for women, amazing. And he said, well, I have this protocol and I want to add your woman's comfort to it, but I need a good source of a black haw tincture. So I said, let's do it. So almost 20 years ago, I brought out a tincture of this beautiful formula. Okay, so black haw. Now the thing is, this is a product in our line that is not super well known, because unless you get education about it, and you understand what it does, it can be like any other thing that you might have a little piece of gold sitting there, but you don't know it's gold. You don't know the value of it. Okay. And I would liken some of these products that aren't super well known, some of these herbs to that. Like some of these things are like gold. So what black haw is really, really good for and well known for is strengthening and toning the uterus. Now you think about the female uterus. Okay, this creates life, holds a baby as it grows. And every month, an egg drops down and prepares for new life. And, and then it transitions. It transitions through the decades. This is a very unique, special organ for women. And to get something that God put on this planet to help women keep that organ healthy is something that's really important to know about. So over the years, I've had different women use it for tough periods, That's why it bundles so well with a woman's comfort. Those two go really well together. And also, I've had women use it in their attempt for pregnancy. And so that is not a claim that this will help you get pregnant, but when you strengthen and tone the uterus, you have an herb that specific properties that do that, then this is something that I've seen what people would consider miracles. But that's how our body is designed. Our body as women are designed to give birth. And sure, things can go wrong, things can go off. And this is where the wisdom of generations of herbalists and shamans and the elders in our tribes and our communities and our families, this is where this wisdom is passed down, is generation to generation. And then the cool thing is then we get to share cultures and traditions and remedies with each other, because these things are not just for one group or one community or one tribe of people to keep to themselves. This is something where you come from this tradition and you did this for a respiratory issue or a fertility issue or whatever it is. And then we share, because that's the human way, is sharing. And that's my opinion. These things are not to keep to ourselves, right? So the Black Cohosh is something that I've seen work miracles over the years. So this has been in our line for about 20 years. Now, the third one is a very important adaptogen. This is something that I started using in my 20s, all through my 30s, 40s. I used it most of the decades of my life, including the one I'm in now. I don't take it every single day, mostly because I don't feel like I need it. I muscle test. I muscle test for all my supplements, which basically means at this point, I can simply touch a product or be in the energy of it, and I intuitively know that I need it. I'm drawn to it. This is a skill that takes practice, but every human being can do it. I don't care if you're a man or a woman. Every single human being has the ability to tap into the energy. What we have is intuition. Of course, add your knowledge, add your due diligence, add all that, because I believe that helps as well. Suma is something that has been a very important part of my life. Now, we name this Faffia. The P is silent, and Faffia paniculata, that is the botanical name. That is why my dad named this tincture Faffia, because that's the botanical name for Suma. Now, Suma root comes from Brazil, and it is what's known as a powerful adaptogen. And I love all adaptogens. I love ashwagandha and rhodiola and maca root. There's so many beautiful adaptogens. But what I love about Suma is its ability to balance, in particular, testosterone and estrogen. And to me, this is good. Women have testosterone, women have estrogen. Sometimes those hormones go wonky. And we also have progesterone, but Suma root in particular affects the hormones of estrogen and testosterone from my experience. And as I was going through my 20s and 30s, and even all of my 40s, I was teaching exercise classes. And I actually went all the way through my 50s. I taught exercise classes for 40 years. And it's still a passion of mine. And what you need when you want the energy and the vitality to exercise and stay healthy and keep your body doing what it's doing, circulating blood and all of that, having your hormones as balanced as they can be naturally is really important. Now, I did, right before I turned 50, actually it was a little after I turned 50, I believe, I went and got a hormone panel. Just a simple blood test, and I think this is where we shine in modern medicine, is what are your hormones doing? Where are they? Are they present even? Because I think, especially as women, as we go through the later part of our life, your hormones, sometimes they will deplete completely. And to be able to bring back in the hormone support is really important. And for me, I've used this for so many decades because of how it balances hormones as we walk through all the phases, but the energy that it gave me to work out. And there's other things I did as well. So we put these three formulas in a pack called the Ultimate Woman's Bundle. And we tell you directions on how to take it. You can just make this a normal part of your supplement routine. So what I would suggest, if any of this resonates with you, even if it's just one of these particular herbs or products that I talk about, then I would suggest giving it a try. and then see if maybe 2 of them, depending on what you have going on. Every woman is different. We all need hormones. We all need energy. We all need focus. We need balance. We want deep sleep. There are so many beautiful reasons to love and appreciate the fact that we are women in this beautiful time when I believe the divine feminine is roaring back. I think it's a beautiful time to be alive. So if any of these resonate with you, jump on our website, grab a bottle and try it. And then the goal is to be consistent and patient. Okay, because as modern humans, we want things to happen super fast. And one of my favorite things to tell people, especially when they find us for the first time, then they're thinking, and I sometimes feel this way too. When I get something, like when I added a collagen product into my supplement routine a long time ago, I was like, okay, I want immediate results. So the thing to know is that your body has a rhythm, it has a time, and a lot of times you will get really fast results in the way that you feel. To me, that's always the barometer. How do I feel? But then the goal is for you to be consistent and patient. So if you're going to consider, say for example, you're a woman with super heavy periods, those can be tough. So what I would suggest, pick up 1 bottle of Woman's Comfort. Take 1 capsule in the morning and 1 capsule in the evening. And doesn't matter if it's with or without food, set it up where when you get up in the morning, maybe where you brush your teeth, take 1 while you're brushing your teeth in the morning, take the other one while you're brushing your teeth in the evening, and be very consistent. See how you feel at the end of a month. So this is not something that you would take if you are in the middle of a really heavy flow. This would be something that if you are prone to heavy flow or irregular flows, maybe really heavy one month, super light, almost non-existent the next month, it should be consistent. If your body is healthy, it should be consistent and it should be a normal flow. But try it for a month and see how your body responds. Okay. And we actually put the Woman's Comfort in a 3-pack. We put a discount on it, and a lot of women depend on this. And, I hope that this was some information that helped you. Again, please know this is all based on my own experience, and none of it is meant to be medical advice. So thanks so much for tuning in, and we will see you next time.